Now, occasionally it happens in your life that you have a certain experience, you learn something, you gain a piece of knowledge that radically changes your life. Okay? When you walk into the experience, you don't realize it's about to happen, but this is going to be one of those experiences. Okay? This is one of these easy things in a life of Torah that is not so difficult, it's not complicated, and it's one of these life-changing, happy, positive, easy, powerful things to do. You ready for this? Okay? Now, I know we're coming from different backgrounds, different places, so if I say anything that you don't understand or it's not clear, so please ask me because I want to get absolute clarity. Now, it is the business of a person in this world to really be involved. I'm assuming a lot of things now, but if you have any questions, you can ask me. It is really the business of a person who's living a life of Judaism to be involved in doing mitzvahs. Mitzvahs are the commands from God. What does God want us to do? These are the setups. These are the ideal ways to live. They're designed to maximize our achievement in this world. The thing is, when you do a mitzvah, you can do it in a general way that's focused just on that mitzvah, which is fantastic. Or you can do the mitzvah in many other flavors. I wanted to explain to you what I mean. This is an incredible thing. A mitzvah is an act that creates a pocket of eternity, of forever. Now, what's called forever? Well, when you're on the bus and it's taking a long time, or you're driving someplace and there's traffic, and you say, oh, this is taking forever. So our use of the word forever is different than what forever actually is. Let's describe how Rav Dessler describes what forever is. Forever is, imagine, now we're on a mountain, it's called Har Nof, yeah? Har Nof, that's where we are, the top of a mountain. Imagine this mountain, it's not a huge mountain, but imagine this mountain the same size is made of sand. A mountain the size of Har Nof made of sand. That's a big mountain, there's a lot of sand there. Imagine every 10,000 years, a bird comes along, takes 1 grain of sand, and drops it into the ocean. Okay? Now, 10,000 years is quite a long time. Let's explain to you what that means. My grandmother, she should rest in peace, she died about 5 years ago. She died at almost 105 years old. Okay? When it was World War II, she was just about 30 years old. That's amazing. It's a different planet, right? It's my grandmother, yeah. I met her, talked to her, spent plenty of time with her, right? So, she's a time capsule. When she was a little kid, there were cars. Most people didn't have cars. Electricity was much less common. That was only 110 years ago. But what about 1,000 yeyears ago? So 1,000 years ago, what did Europe look like? No Spain, no France, no England, no Germany, no Soviet, nothing. It was nothing, right? It was Ottoman Empire, a few other things going on there. It was a different universe. If you go back 10,000 years, everything's different. 10,000 years is a very long time. So now, every 10,000 years, this little bird takes 1 little grain of sand and drops it into the ocean. When the entire mountain is totally finished, you haven't scratched the surface of forever. You with me? Now, when you do a mitzvah, what you're doing is you're creating a reality to relive in the world to come. Let me explain to you what I mean. People think, well, if you believe in the world to come, you live your life as a timeline. You're born, you live, blah, 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 period at the end, you die, right? And then you continue living in the next world. You join the next world now, but your line continues. That's incorrect. Really what it is that let's say your life is like a line across your hand, right? So you live it one time. Every moment creates a potential eternal reality in the next world. So you relive the same life, but every moment now is relived on an eternal level, on a forever level. Does this make sense? No. I mean, intellectually it doesn't, but at least dry, factual, you get the idea. You know, it's like a seed, right? Imagine you visit this vast forest that covers mountains and valleys. It's an incredible thing, right? Does it make sense? So when you go there, but that whole valley and forest could have been started by one person who had a bunch of tree seeds, like acorns, whatever they are, and walked through that and traveled and planted a bunch of seeds. At first, it was really in a contained small container, or maybe it was a container but it's definitely much smaller than the entire forest. So what we're doing in this world is that we are gathering seeds in order to replant them in an eternal way in the next world. Does that make sense? That's the idea. Now, the thing is, forever is quite a long time. So when you do a mitzvah in this world, you're planting the life that's going to live forever in the next world. It's a much bigger picture than looking at just the picture of this world. Okay, that's the whole discussion by itself. Now, Since a mitzvah creates a reality that is forever, yes?
What do you mean in the next world?
Oh, okay. Thank you for asking that question. Okay, so the world that we live in right now is only a it's a practice, it's a dry run. It's not the real reality.
You mean like 10,000 years from now?
No, I don't mean that. I mean that spiritually speaking, the world we're in, the physical world that we're in right now is not the real reality. It's a preparation for the real reality.
So like Olam Haba?
Olam Haba, the world to come. The world to come means a world that's forever. God did not create the world in a way that He wants there to be an eternal period of time where we are tested and succeed, fail, succeed, fail. He makes a limited amount of time where we can make a...
Forever isn't, when you say forever, it's not referring to this world.
I mean, it includes this world, but forever really means the next world. Yeah, the beginning of really enjoying and benefiting, right, yeah, exactly right, is the next world. You're benefiting from all that fruit of your labor when you begin the next reality, which is after death, it's not now.
And so there's no forever in this world, but there is forever in that world.
Yeah, forever, so to speak, begins in that world. Okay, I don't get lost in the language. I just mean to say is that world is a world that never stops. That's impossible for a human being to conceive of because we're all inside time. Anyway, this is much, I don't want to be so theoretical, I want to be much more practical. I'm just trying to give the emotional feeling of, wow, forever is much longer than I thought it was. Every 10,000 years, one grain of sand of the mountain in the ocean, and now the whole mountain is gone. That's a long time, but you didn't even start forever. You just started barely a scratch, nothing. Okay, so forever is a big deal. So what the purpose of this class is a bunch of things. I want to give you some juice. I want to give you some energy. I want to give you some powerful intellectual and emotional ideas to give the mitzvahs more power, to realize what we're doing. A lot of people live in life and they realize like, oh, life's important, and it is certainly important, and this world for sure is very important. You have to live in a proper way in this world, but we don't realize the power of what we're doing. I'll give you an example of this. There's a book that I read many years ago. Someone told me they made it into a movie. It's called Ender's Game. You ever heard of Ender's Game? Make a long story short, there's a kid, he's an orphan, and they put him in a military school, it's in the future, and he is trained on a computer screen how to deal with all types of different battle tactics, battle scenarios, battle situations. So he's the commander, he has to call the shots, and he keeps winning all these very difficult battles. Eventually battles become more and more and more difficult. There's space battles against aliens. Make a long story short, eventually he has to make some tough decisions, and he saves, at least according to the game, he saves humanity in the game, in this simulation. Yeah? Turns out all of those simulations were not actually simulations, they're actual battles, and because the military generals realized that this guy is a military genius, even though he's a kid, they put him to the test, and whatever he did on the screen is what they did in reality. So he's actually issuing commands. And he actually saved humanity against the bad guys. It was a whole difficult thing. The point is like this. He didn't realize the gravity, the enormousness, the importance of what he was doing. When he realized it afterwards, it hit him like, whoa, who knew? Right? It was a very scary moment, right? So now, we're the same way in a beautiful way. When you do things, we don't realize the gravity of what we're doing. Now, you're not supposed to feel heavy from that. You're supposed to feel excited and happy. This is wonderful. Look what I can accomplish. Yeah? When you do a kindness for somebody else, that's an eternal act. The person may remember it. Maybe they forget about it. But you've created a pocket of eternity that never ends. That's an amazing thing. If a person wastes their time, could have a moment of eternity that they could have gotten in a positive way, and they wasted it, that's not the best thing on the planet. Now, that's not the purpose of this class. What I want to tell you is the following. That's an introduction. If a mitzvah creates an eternal reality, if you can slightly increase the quality of your mitzvah, of the act that you do, you'll get a return on your money, on your investment that's beyond anything in the universe. You're slightly increasing eternity just by 1 millimeter. I'm just using physical terms, but you get the idea. You make something just a little bit better. Well, it's a little bit better consistently forever. It's a very big deal. How can we make the mitzvahs that we do a little bit better? You're about to keep Shabbos. You're about to make a blessing before you eat. Whatever you can do, you're going to give charity to somebody. That's a mitzvah. It's a big deal. So how can you do that in a way that's going to last or going to be slightly qualitatively better? So I want to give you a few ways to make it better. Okay, now what I teach you now is on all levels. I teach this in introduction here. This is Mechina Neve. I teach it in Beis Yaakov's and all kinds of places. Everybody needs to hear this. We all need to hear this. We all need to focus on this a little bit. Now, here's a way to do it. When you do any action whatsoever, who you are at the time of the action radically affects the quality of the action. Make sense? Women know this better than men. They feel it right away. Yeah? If I come in, I'm like, okay, how you guys doing? How's everything? That's one thing. If a mother comes in and she asks her own children, how are you doing? It's the same exact words, but the emotion behind it is totally different, and the action, therefore, is different. She has a different relationship with her kids. The father, the brother, the husband, whoever it is, like somebody, a different relationship. So when they do the same physical act, there's so much more behind it. Make sense? A mother with her child, totally different story. Question?
Can you say that again? Who you are at the time of the action?
Radically affects the quality of the action. Who you are at the time of the action radically affects the quality of the action. So if there's some way that we could slightly raise ourselves before we do a mitzvah, some way, slightly raise ourselves, we have just accomplished something that is unbelievable and beyond measure, immeasurable. How do you make yourself slightly better before you do a mitzvah? I want to give you an easy way. There's many ways, but I'll give you one easy way. You with me?
With you.
You see why, by the way, this is really valuable? How valuable this is? Super valuable, yeah? Psychologically, it's true even in this world, it's an important thing. Yeah? So listen to this. You didn't get it clear? Question?
Yeah, just,
If there's a way you can the better you are at the time of an action, the better your action. If you can raise the level of who you are,
radically affects
the quality of the action that you do. So now I want to give you a way to slightly boost who you are at the time of the action, just a little bit. Very easy. There's many ways to do this. One way. There's something called hirhurei tshuva. Hirhurei tshuva means thoughts of tshuva, thoughts of improvement, thoughts of repentance. The word repentance is a bad word. Tshuva really means return, which means I'm returning to a higher level that I was on before, my original ideal level. It doesn't just mean I'm a bad person, I'm banging on my chest. It doesn't necessarily mean that. It means hirhurei tshuva means a thought of how I can make myself better. For example, if you have a grandmother or an uncle or an aunt that would love to hear from you, and you call them up, and they're like, wow, I'm so happy you called. Why'd you call? Just because you care about them. You love them, you care about them, you make them happy because you called. Well, you think to yourself, I really need to call my aunt more often. Yeah? If you do that, that's called hirhurei tshuva. You have thoughts of improvement. This is a very small level, but it's a real thing. It's a level of slight improvement. I really need to be nicer to my roommate. I need to be a little more patient with my friend, or just even a thought of doing something. You know what? I could give a little bit more tzedakah, a little more charity than I normally give. Or I could be a little more on time. Pick whatever you want. Doesn't make a difference. Whatever it is. Yeah? That thought slightly raises who you are at the time.
So just the acknowledgement that you...
Yeah, the acknowledgement, the thought, the acknowledgement. Maybe sometimes it's a plan. Maybe it's already part of the area that you're working on already. That could be as well. But something simple and something small, you're not necessarily accepting on yourself to change. You're just thinking, I need to make it. That's already make yourself better. Now do that before you do a mitzvah. Not all day, not every time. Once a day or once a week. You've just deposited 1 extra millimeter in something that is forever. That's a very big deal.
So it's just a thought to be slightly better.
Yes. Yes. Now, a lot of people say, well, wait a second, but maybe I thought about it a bunch of times and it's been 2 years and I still haven't improved it. Okay, that's also a thought of hirhurei tshuva. I got to be more serious about it. That's also good. We're talking very low, small things that are easy to do. Not complicated. Or you might think to yourself, okay, I've been thinking about it for 6 months already. How can I implement it? I'm going to try this. That's good. That's amazing. That's wonderful. Good. Now, different flavor. Different flavor. Not really our topic. I'm assuming something right now. I'm assuming a lot of things. But let's assume that prayer is actually effective. Let's assume that prayer is effective. That needs to be discussed, but let's assume that prayer is effective. Especially when you pray for what God already wants. It's an easy one. So before you do a mitzvah, before you do a good thing, you're about to help somebody. You say, you know what, God, help me to do this in a way that's better. Help me to maximize how I'm going to do this. You're going to do it anyway. You're anyway going to give tzedakah to somebody. You give someone a little bit of, someone asks you for money, you give them a few shekels, you give them a few dollars, whatever it is. You're going to do it anyway. Please, God, help me do it in a way that's ideal. Maybe that means you're going to smile more. It means you feel a sense of wanting to give and help this person. It could be a lot of reasons why, right? Now, what you're really asking God to do is, God, please help me do what you want. Help me to fulfill your will. What's he going to say? No. I don't want you to do what I want. No, I won't let. I don't let. No, of course he's going to say yes. It's not a hard one. It's a very easy request. You have a worker, you ask him, please do X, Y, and Z for me. And he says, please show me how I can do this better so you're really happy with it. No, I'm not going to tell you or show you. Of course you're going to do it. It's the easy one, right? So this is a second way to make your mitzvah better. One way is to actually improve yourself. The second way is to ask for help. Okay? Again, assuming that prayer is effective. That's a whole discussion by itself. Third thing, totally different flavor. There are ways we can double up the mitzvahs that we do. You can, so to speak, I don't want to be so crass and talk about things in terms of reward and so black and white in terms of reward, but it's an easy way to measure things sometimes, right? Imagine that you have a certain job and you get paid $25 an hour. And let's say your job is you work in a hospital, I don't know, I'm gonna give you an example. Yeah, and someone says, oh, you work in a hospital? Oh, I love people that work in hospitals. And I'm a very wealthy man. I have billions of dollars. You just send me your pay slip and I'll double it. Wonderful. Yeah, so you get, so you get your pay slip from the, whatever it is, you get a little receipt that you got paid $25 an hour for something, and you send him an email, and he deposits money in your account. Wonderful, he sends you a check, whatever you want. Fantastic. But he says, I can only do it if you send me the email. You don't send me the email, you don't send me the slip, I can't do it. You have to show me some kind of, you take a picture and send it to me, whatever, that's fine, right? So if you don't do it, you don't sign up for it, you don't get it. Sometimes you can do one action and get, so to speak, paid for more than one thing. That's an example. That doesn't come up too often. But when it comes to mitzvahs, sometimes one action is several mitzvahs at once. For example, that's exactly what I'm going to tell you right now. So let's say, for example, there's a mitzvah of, on Friday night, there's a mitzvah to make kiddush, to say it's Shabbos over a cup of wine, right? So when you do that, it could be you're making kiddush for yourself. And also, maybe you have a next door neighbor who, for whatever reason, it's hard for her to speak. She doesn't have a family, she's all by herself, whatever, or she's not feeling so well. So you make kiddush for you and for her as well, right? So now you have the mitzvah of kiddush, and you have the mitzvah of loving your fellow person like yourself, and kindness and a bunch of other things, okay? You can double it up. The thing is, you have to sign up. How do you sign up? Most of these things, the way you sign up is by turning your mind on and thinking, I'm doing it for that mitzvah as well. You have to consciously think, I'm doing it for that extra mitzvah as well. It's a little bit hard. As someone said to me, oh, Rabbi, it hurts to think. It's true, it can't hurt to think sometimes, yeah? It's become, in certain circles in the Western world, it's become a thing like, oh, I don't want to be too intellectual or too I don't want to be too smart. It's become not cool to look smart in certain places. Well, I don't really know myself. It's not really humility, it just looks not cool to be smart. It depends on where you are, yeah? Anyway, now, I want to give you one example of this. There's a separate mitzvah in the Torah called V'ohavta l'reacha chamocha. In English, that's the English transliteration. It means, and you shall love. I'm going to say it in a nice, easy translation. Your fellow person, like yourself. That is one of the 613 commandments, straight across, straight up, right from the Torah. You shall love your fellow person like yourself. Love other people like yourself.
Does that refer to everybody?
That's a whole discussion exactly what that is. It initially refers to the Jewish people initially till we get our own acts together, and then it really expands afterwards when we get our acts together as a nation to everybody in the world. But right now we have to kind of heal ourselves. We're not as a nation, the Jewish people are not healthy. So initially it means it really does refer to the Jewish people. And then in the future we're going to become, once we become healed as a nation, then we can start being a light to all the other nations. Yes, good question. Actually, I was planning on skirting around that. But it's good that you asked the question. Okay, now, this mitzvah means when you benefit somebody else, if you have this in mind, you're doing this mitzvah. So for example, your best friend loves chocolate ice cream, and you get her some chocolate ice cream, right? You're doing the mitzvah, v'ahavta l'reacha chamocha. Love your fellow Jew like yourself. Yeah, it's fantastic. Yeah, if your best friend needs a hand with finances or carrying something, or she needs a shoulder to cry on, or she wants to share some great joke, or whatever it is. She's telling you some good news, and as great as it is, it would be even better if she's able to tell you and you can listen. You're doing the mitzvah, v'ahavta l'reacha chamocha, you should love your fellow person like yourself. It's a wonderful thing to do. It's a mitzvah. It's one of the 613 commandments. Now, listen to this amazing thing. There is a well-known concept that when somebody dies, You can learn Torah or do mitzvahs in the merit of that person. It's a well-known concept. You do Eloi Nishmasam, which means they died, and now their neshama exists, and they're in a real world, in the spiritual world, and you want to help their level rise in the spiritual world. You can do such a thing. So you say, I'm doing it for them, in their merit. You can do the same thing if somebody is sick. I want them to have a complete recovery. So I'm doing mitzvahs, I'm giving charity, I'm helping people, whatever you're doing, whatever the mitzvahs are, in their merit, so they can become better. Make sense? Well known, correct? You hear what we're saying? Now, you don't have to wait for them to die or be sick. You can do it for your best friend, just because you love her. Just because you like her. You can do it for your brothers and sisters. You don't have to wait for it to be a specific moment. You can say, you know what? I'm about to light Shabbos candles. I'm about to make a blessing before I eat. I'm about whatever you can do. I'm going to give tzedakah. And I'm going to do this in the merit of my best friend, my sister, my brother, my uncle, whatever you want. Yeah? Now, do you lose if you do that? No, you lose nothing. What you do is you get reward for what you've done, and that other person also gets a reward for what you've done. Doesn't cost a nickel. Yeah, you lose nothing at all. Now, before you get to this mitzvah, the very fact is, that's a wonderful thing to do for one of your best friends or your sister or somebody else. It's great to do for friends, it's great to do for enemies also. Yes?
Wait, this might be like a bit of a stupid question.
There's no such thing.
Okay, so let's say you're davening, and then you have 5 people in mind that you want to pray for. Does it make a difference if you pray for all 5 of them in one prayer, or if you say one prayer for each person?
Oh, okay. The question is, if you pray for a group of 5 together, these 5, or that one, that one, that one, that one, that one?
Yeah.
Which is better? Generally speaking, the more specific you are, the better. But you have time limitations and energy limitations. You can't, spend right?
So, is that for us or for God? Does He want us to be specific?
He wants what's ever best for us to grow. So if we grow because it's better because the more specific we are, the more real it is to us, and the more effective it is as an action. Like when you just see somebody, someone tells you, there's a person over there and is sick, please pray for them. That's one thing. If you see them, it has more of an effect on you. You pray better. You become better because you pray better because it's real. It's well, there's a person, that's a great thing, but more real. So the more specific you are, the better it is. But sometimes you're going to see that you have to be general. You can't be specific for everyone in the universe, which we're going to talk about in just 1 minute. Now, watch this.
Wait, you said something, I really liked it. It was God wants whatever
is best for us. That's correct. That's what the business of this. God created the world to help individual people become the best they can become. That's the world. That's the purpose. Now, here's what's amazing. So here's your best friend, right? And you love her and she's amazing, you have a great time together, or your husband, or your kids, whatever it is, right? And you decide, you know what, I want to give them a special secret gift. So what do? In the process of doing the mitzvahs that you're doing throughout the day, you say, you know what, I'm doing today, all the mitzvahs I do should be in the merit of my sister, or my brother, or my friend, or whoever it is, yeah? Now, you don't tell her, you keep it a secret, yeah? It's under the what do you call it, espionage, it's mitzvah espionage, right? You're secretly covertly giving her merit, yeah? When she gets up to the next world after 120 years, she's going to find an unbelievable gift from you. Now that gift never goes away. You buy your friend a cup, you get her some coffee, ice cream, it's wonderful, it's beautiful, it's a wonderful thing to do, yeah? But eventually it goes away and she forgets about it. But she'll never forget about this, it's forever. That's an amazing thing to do by itself. If you're talking about loving somebody, that's a great gift, yeah.
So could you do that? 2 questions. One, can you do that every day?
Yes.
And then
You can do it every day.
so every mitzvah you do can be for
Yes. Yes. That's why we're having this conversation.
And is it only for Jews?
No, it's not only for Jews, it's for non-Jews also. Anybody. It's a great way to pay people back. They might not realize it right away, but that's okay. Long term, they're going to realize it and be forever indebted to you. They'll forever be happy that you did this such a thing. It's a gift that never goes away.
So, you're saying if you are about to do, let's say you're about to give charity to some person in the street, homeless guy, whatever, and then you say to yourself, and I'm having in mind that this goes to...
Yes, you should say with your mouth, I'm doing this in the merit of my sister, brother, friend, whatever.
In the world to come, they will realize that?
Ding. Yes, they sure will.
So, okay.
They're going to have mountains and valleys of happiness because of these few acts that you handed them for free. And you lose nothing. The system is rigged. God wants us to care about each other. He wants us to be busy doing good things for each other. He wants that. He's like, I'm not going to penalize you for doing that. I'm not going to take away your reward if you give it to somebody else also. You'll get and she'll get also. This is one of these things that the negative forces of the universe, the spiritual forces of the universe, want us to forget. Pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. Yeah? Once you find the truth, the Yetzer Hara says to you, no, this strange rabbi in Neve, what is he talking about? Yeah? I'm not making this stuff up. You're going to see in a minute. Now, it's already a wonderful thing to do. But if you add this factor, v'ahavta l'recha chamocha, you're benefiting somebody else. Anytime you benefit somebody else, you're doing that mitzvah of v'ahavta l'recha chamocha, of loving your fellow person like yourself. Yes?
So is that the third way to...
Yes, the third way is do mitzvahs in the merit of somebody else, and you have two mitzvahs now. First of all, it's a beautiful, good thing to do. But in addition to that, it's a separate mitzvah besides making kiddush, besides saying shema, besides giving charity, besides visiting people that are sick or helping people that need help, kindness and chesed. That's a wonderful thing. You have an additional mitzvah. You've doubled your mitzvahs now because you're doing the merit of somebody else. It's another mitzvah called loving your fellow person like yourself. Now, this is amazing because it doesn't even have to be that you're doing a mitzvah the first time. It just means you're doing something good.
Will it help them at all in this world?
It sure helps them in this world because they're more meritorious. In general, it helps them in this world. For sure it does. It's complicated how that is and all kinds of, there's a lot of factors that are involved.
Does a person go to Olam Haba due to other people?
There is such a thing, but it's got to be very extreme. Sometimes you have a person who's, let's say, a very bad person, and someone else is very good that's doing a lot of mitzvahs for them. It's possible. There are cases like that where a very good person can do a lot of mitzvahs for a very bad person and pull that bad person out of a bad situation in the spiritual world. But that's very extreme. It certainly helps, and it helps in a major way. Yeah? Now, this is a totally different flavor. If you speak to most people about this, they never thought of it. They're not thinking of such things. Okay? Now, does it work for more than one person? Yes, it does. Pick a list of people that you can quickly rattle off in your head and say, brother, sister, uncle, best friend, roommate. Or my 3 roommates, or my 2 best friends, whatever you want. And say, before I do this mitzvah, I'm doing it in the merit of this person. Each individual person you do the mitzvah for becomes a separate mitzvah of loving a fellow person like yourself. So you're about to say, let's say someone says a blessing, and you want to say amen. They say a blessing, you say amen. Amen is not one of the 613 mitzvahs in the Torah. It's a mitzvah to do, it's halacha, it's definitely an obligation to say amen, it's a wonderful thing, etc., but it's not one of the big 613. However, if you say I'm saying amen in the merit of my best friend, it now becomes that mitzvah plus the v'ahavta l'recha. It's amazing. 5 people, 5 separate mitzvahs. Now, I'm making it very like math. It's not like that.
The more people you add up, the bigger it is.
The more mitzvahs it is. That's right.
It's not like it makes it less, kind of.
No, not at all. There's no such thing as you ever heard this term conservation of energy? Energy can't be, created or destroyed, right? So the same idea, matter, same idea. There's no such thing in the spiritual world. The example they give in the physical world is like a candle lighting a candle, lighting a candle, lighting a candle. One candle can light 50 million candles. It doesn't take away from the candle. It's just starting the process. Same thing. God rigs the system in the positive way that you can actually give people your merit without losing.
So then can't you just say for all Jews?
Oh, next step. Thank you very much. So say for everybody on the planet, say for everyone in the world. But it doesn't work. Doesn't work. This particular mitzvah, I'm going to not stop here. This particular mitzvah has a technical issue that since it's loving the fellow person like yourself, you have to think of them specifically to do this mitzvah. If I don't know the recipient of the mitzvah, or I'm not thinking of them at this time, it doesn't work. It's a wonderful thing. It helps them, but it's not this mitzvah. It gives them merit, but it's not this mitzvah.
So can you say because I feel like God knows who you're thinking of.
Yeah, but you need to think of them.
So let's say you make a list in your head. Let's say I make a list right now. Every time I'm going to do something good, I'm going to make a list of 10 people, and those are considered the people I love. And then every time I do a mitzvah, I'm just going to say, may this be in the merit of all the people that I love.
It can be. You have to make, but you still have to think about it.
I have to think about every.
Yes, for this mitzvah, if to give them merit, you don't need to think about them. But to do the mitzvah of loving your fellow person like yourself, you have to have it in mind. I can't just be like, I'm throwing, chocolate chip cookies behind me and they're benefiting people. That's not this mitzvah. You're benefiting. They get the chocolate chip cookie, it's delicious, it's wonderful, but it's not this mitzvah. Now, however, so therefore, go through a list of specific people. You can't just say everybody in Neve, everybody in Yerushalayim, everybody in the world. It doesn't work. But there's another mitzvah that it does work for. Okay? I'm throwing a lot at you, but there's another mitzvah that does work for you. Now, listen to this mitzvah. Different mitzvah entirely. V'halachta, and you shall walk. It's a command. Bidrachav, in his ways, in God's ways. It's a command to walk in God's ways. You shall walk in God's ways. It's a command. It's one of the 613 mitzvahs. That means, just like God is kind, you be kind. Just like he's merciful, you be merciful. Just like he's forgiving, you be forgiving. There's a whole long list, but that's the basic idea. Halachta b'drachav, you should walk in his ways. Now, this mitzvah does not require you to know the one who's receiving the good that you're giving. You just have to benefit them. It's not loving them like myself. Love, by definition, is I feel love for you. I can't feel love for you if I don't know who you are. I'm not thinking about you. Maybe I'm doing a benefit. I'm benefiting you, but I'm not loving you. But this mitzvah is not like that. This mitzvah is get busy helping people. Chesed, kindness. So, for example, there's a bathroom nearby here. There's a wedding hall. I walked into that place. There's no wedding hall, but I was used to the bathroom. Come out. I want to wash my hands. I want to use soap. All the little soap dispensers are empty. There's a little liquid soap thing sitting on the counter. It says, please use. Shana Tova. Have a good year. Somebody went in there and they realized there's no soap, so they put a whole big bottle of soap there, and it's great. I use a little soap, fantastic. Now, I don't know who they are. They don't know who I am. But because I benefited from them, they're doing this mitzvah of v'halachta b'drachav. You should walk in God's ways. They don't have to know me. This is a technical thing that's much more general.
Wait, so who benefited there?
I benefited.
The person who used the soap?
I used the soap. So that person who put the soap there did the mitzvah of walking in God's ways. Just like he's kind, you be kind. So that person was kind to me, even though I don't know who they are. I don't know who put it there. They don't have to know who I am.
Did you get a mitzvah by using it?
No, I benefited. I had clean hands. Yeah, I did, but not for this discussion.
And that could be for everything, like anything, any little thing you do.
Right. So therefore, if you do certain things that benefit somebody else, for example, you come to class here early, and it's super hot. And it's like, 105 degrees outside, and this room is super hot. And you put the air conditioning on 5 or 10 minutes before him, so they come and it's cool. Then for whatever reason, you don't come to class, you miss it, who knows what. But all the people sitting in this class benefited from the air conditioning.
What if you do it when you're doing it for yourself?
You can do it for yourself also, that's fine. As long as it's not only for you, it's fine. You can do it for yourself and for them, it's fine. No problem at all. I brought pizza for the whole class. Wonderful. I eat, you eat too. Fine, fantastic. Yeah? No problem. Now, what comes out from this, and pardon me, I get a little excited about this because this is amazing. Now again, watch this. The mitzvahs begin with the Jewish people because we have to heal ourselves, become complete and whole and healthy, so that we can then move on to help the whole world. It's always like that, right? Saying like, I want to get out there and help the world, but like if I didn't sleep properly, eat properly, nothing, and I'm falling apart, I have to first take care of myself. I can move on. Even the mitzvah of loving your fellow person like yourself, I have to first love myself. If I have no love at all, I can't give love. You can only give as much love as you think you deserve, which has to do with how much love. That's another story. Now, listen to this. This mitzvah means I can say with my mouth before I do a mitzvah, oh, I want to do this mitzvah in the merit of the entire Jewish people. Again, I'm not saying Jew is more than non-Jew. I'm just saying it's a technical thing right now. Now, I don't know how many Jews there are in the world. I don't think anybody really knows. Let's say there's 16 million Jews in the world. I'm about to give tzedakah. So I say I'm giving tzedakah, charity to somebody. I'm giving this tzedakah in the merit of every Jew on the planet. Now, that's amazing by itself. If you just stop there, it's like, I don't know what it is, but it's really good. Yeah? But watch this. According to this mitzvah, it could be that you've just done 16 million separate mitzvahs. There are very few things you can do in life that include 16 million people in your kindness. This is one of them. It's amazing. By the way, ladies, you're doing the mitzvah anyway. You're anyway going to give to the charity. Why not sign up? Why not send that receipt to the wealthy guy who wants to pay you for a double? Yeah? So say, I'm doing this to benefit these people. I'm doing v'halachta b'drachav. I'm walking in God's ways. I'm benefiting but the way to say this, if you want to say it in English, you could say it's in the merit of the whole Jewish people. There's a phrase in Hebrew, B'Shem Kol Yisrael. This is actually built into many prayers. I'll translate in a minute. In the name of all of Israel. That is code for I'm doing it b'shem kol Yisrael. I'm doing it in the merit of every person in the Jewish people. Okay, I'm writing in a very Ashkenazi way here. B'shem kol Yisrael. You can say Yisrael if you prefer. I'm just the way of speaking. Yeah? Here I did it the more Sephardi Israeli type of way to do it. Now, imagine that God looks down on the world and he sees, like, let's say he sees a blank screen. When someone does a mitzvah, he sees a blip of light. Let's say, just my little metaphor, right? So now this person does a mitzvah, he sees a little blip of, oh look, there's a little blip of light, right? Now, what do you think that, if a person does a mitzvah in a small way, it's a little blip. If it's a big mitzvah, it's a big blip. What do you think that light looks like when you do a mitzvah that includes 16 million people on the planet? Yeah, who knows what it looks like? This is my little metaphor. Yeah, it's amazing. It's a different planet. Now, if you're going through life doing mitzvahs for the entire Jewish people, you're a powerful woman. You're doing big stuff. Doesn't look like it. You never see, like, the clouds part and beams of sunlight like come on you, and like, you don't hear trumpets going. You don't hear any of that stuff. Nothing actually happens that you see, but big stuff is happening. And we already have plenty of examples of that where you don't see what's happening, but you know things are happening. Right? I always thought to myself, this is a terrible thought, but let's give an example. Do you know about the Panama Canal? You know why the Panama Canal is like a bunch of steps from, I'm not sure which is higher, but apparently there's like a little canal between the Pacific and the Atlantic Ocean. Apparently at that place, one of them's higher than the other one. I don't know how that works out, but like they're separated by, I'm not sure how long the whole canal is. Instead of having to go all the way down past South America and come all the way up around, you want to go from New York to California in a boat, you have to go all the way down past South America. So you save some time in Panama. There's a little canal that goes by there. So the canal is like little, I forgot what they call those things, locks, steps. It's like little things where they let water in, and they drain the water, bring down, drain the water, bring down, until they get to the level of the next ocean, right? I thought to myself, that would be God forbid, chas v'shalom, a terrible, terrible thing if someone suddenly opened up all those things. Now the two oceans have to equal out the same, and that would cause like a lot of land to be destroyed, right? Initially, when they did it, would be like seems like nothing's really happening. But there's a very long-term effect that's happening, right? Or saying like a tsunami that happened, like the tsunami that happened in Thailand in 2003 or 4, I don't remember what it was. It was like, it happened just for a few seconds, a massive earthquake in the middle of the ocean. And then hours later, tsunamis hit in coasts. And if you looked at the ocean, when you see this wave going by, you wouldn't even notice anything. But underneath there was a wave of force carrying that's going to come out later on. So in the positive sense, this is a massive, spiritual, positive, wonderful wave that's shaking, reverberating throughout the whole spiritual universe. It's a big deal. I'm being very poetic now, but you get the idea, right?
So one thing that one person does will have that effect. That's crazy.
It's crazy. We don't realize how powerful we are. We don't realize how great we are. We don't realize like how life is so much bigger than we think. Like Ender's Game, same idea.
What happens if like if you do that so many times, like isn't that like overusing it? Like
it's the same way that you go to your investment analyst and he says, listen, I want you to make me wealthy, but don't make me too wealthy. I don't want to have too much money. You go to the doctor like, I want to get better, but I don't want to be too healthy. You never said, I want to be as healthy as I can be. Yeah? I want to marry a guy who's like a wonderful guy, but I don't want him to be too good. He shouldn't be too wonderful. I don't want to be too happy. No. This is, it's a little bit poetic, but there's a famous quote from a guy named Rumi, if you've ever heard of him. I think he's a Islamic philosopher. He says, you were born with wings. Why prefer to crawl through life? 100% true. Like we're walking around with these big wings, we don't realize what they are. I think, well, I can't run as well with these things. Yeah? If I take them off, I'll be able to run much more quickly. But fly. It's a much bigger world than we think it is. Our powers are much bigger than we think they are, especially in the spiritual world. Physically, we're limited. Even physically, we do much more than we think we can. But physically, we're limited, but like spiritual, no limitation. Okay? Now, I want to give you a little bit of a benefit from this, besides the fact that it's spiritually a big deal. Let's say you go through life like every other human being on the planet, and sometimes you feel just a little bit discouraged. Does that ever happen to you? Yeah, it's just not going, and I'm trying. Okay, that type of feeling? right? You know what I'm talking about? Like maybe once every 50 years it happens, you know what I'm saying? Or maybe a little more often, right? If you're living a life like this, where you're doing mitzvahs for other people, and you're doing them for the whole Jewish people, besides the gift in it, also the mitzvah is like, whoa, you're doing powerful things. You have a core of success and achievement. Success breeds success. It's hard to feel like, well, my day was a waste today when you helped 16 million people many, many times. Do you know what I'm saying? So besides all the spiritual stuff, psychologically speaking, emotionally speaking, like, whoa, I had a pretty good day today. I did 3 or 4 mitzvahs in the discourse of the whole Jewish people, the merit of the whole Jew. Whoa, that's pretty good. Yeah? And I set them up so they can give to the rest of the world. That's a wonderful thing. You know what I'm saying? It takes a little bit of thought though, because the Yetzer Hara, the negative forces in the world, try to make you think the other way. Yeah, but when you were late for work, or like you lost your pen. The first class I taught today, I left my cell phone there. I had to go back. Took an extra 10 or 15 minutes. Okay. Yeah, but you left your phone. How old are we? I'm not how old are we. I do a lot of things. I forget my phone. It's normal. It's okay. It happens. It's the worst thing in the world. Yetzer Hara's, yeah, forget about all the good stuff you did. Focus on the negative. Nah, ridiculous. You with me? Any questions? No? Now, I suggest what you do is you practice and start. Pick one person. Today, and you can say at the beginning of the day, today I'm doing the mitzvahs that I do today, all the good things of today should be in the merit of my sister, my best friend, pick who you want. Don't
say that in the beginning of the day.
In the beginning of the day, yes, it's a declaration. You can say it for the whole week. It's just the more conscious you are about it, the more effective it is, like we said before. So it's good to say throughout the day, this one too, and this one too. But just pick 1 or 2. Don't get overwhelmed. Nice and easy. Yeah? You start getting into the habit of doing this. By the way, don't waste your time doing it for your parents, because your parents automatically get merit for the good things that you do. So you don't have to mention them. It's automatic. Like, for example, if you have a child that suddenly opens up a hospital to help people, all the people that he helped is in your merit. It's automatic. That's the way God sets it up. Because they brought them into the world and they helped them. And even if they died before the child was even born, they brought them into the world. They're the reason. So that's the way God sets it up. So you don't have to mention parents or grandparents. It goes all the way back to Avram Avinu, to Abraham. You don't have to go back further. That's it. It's automatic. Don't waste your time. But uncles, cousins, brothers and sisters, friends, mention them. You lose nothing. Okay? And say the word B'Shem Kol Yisrael. I'm doing this in the schus of the merit of the whole Jewish people, and then it's over. Okay? Any questions? Yes.
2 questions, kind of. One is another question. So the thing that you just said about your parents, like that they no matter what get screwed. So does that also go, let's say, like a rabbi who helped you become religious, so that every mitzvah that you do is
Yes.
thanks to him?
Yes.
So he gets no matter what?
Yes.
Every mitzvah you do?
Yes.
Okay?
Some small amount. It doesn't mean he gets, something.
But because of him.
Yeah. And you also, if you help somebody else become more religious, more observant, or something like that, or you help somebody else do anything, you save their life.
So like the woman who helped me come to Neve, she gets
A merit in things, a good thing, and you don't lose. Bo was right. It's pretty crazy, yeah. And the truth is, you don't have to go so far. Your own kids, you get married, you have children, they do good things, you get the merit for that. It's a wonderful thing.
Okay, and the other thing, it's not really a question, but it's kind of like a realization. Like you're not, this whole thing, it kind of helps you want to do more good things.
Exactly, it's encouraging, isn't it? Super encouraging. Because sometimes you feel like, well, I'm just doing small time stuff. The Yetzer Hara makes you feel like everything's small potatoes. And not really, what am I really doing? How old am I? When am I going to get it right? When am I really going to accomplish maybe you're all too young to appreciate that, The midlife crisis happens at a certain point. It's like, so this is my life, basically. Like, I expected so much more. Like, this is what I'm doing. When you're doing stuff like this, it's like, whoa, I am doing a lot. Of course, you're doing much more than you even realize what you're doing. But this is a way of at least making it somewhat tangible. A little bit. Okay? All the best, ladies. Nice to see everybody.